Word of mouth.
In 1989, a televised animated program revolutionized the way children think about the martial arts, pizza, the dangers of radioactive waste,
surfing,
as well as sexy reporter ladies in yellow jumpsuits. It was called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was totally tubular. At which point, the entirety of the American toy, animation, and merchandising companies across the country said, "Oh, fuck, me too, please, please, I want him so bad. I want money too, please, please. What do you want? What do you want, please? I want the money." And it is that phenomenon that we will examine on today's Nerd of Mouth, the era of the Teenage Mutant knockoff.
Yes.
I feel like we've actually really done a good job, oddly, of setting this episode up between our Daredevil episode. We have our He-Man episode.
Yeah.
So many.
Our Sonic knockoff episode.
Our Sonic knockoff episode. So many things that have like led us up to this point where we really dig into the wild. I mean, when we first signed up for this episode, I thought there were like 5. Maybe.
Fool. Imbecile.
Yeah.
I mean,
child brain.
And we could do this for many different things. We could do this for Star Wars knockoffs and James Bond knockoffs, because if something makes money,
it's a gold rush.
Yeah, and it is also the best way to celebrate something. Like, we could do a 10-part series on the cultural importance of Ninja Turtles, and it will not show how great they are as much as showing people getting it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to start us right off with a little game. We're going to go one by one, and I'm going to ask you a question. I know I sent you guys some cartoons to watch this week, so you might actually do well in this game. But this game is called What is Their Pizza?
Okay.
In this game, I will name you a classic Ninja Turtle knockoff cartoon, which, again, in their infinite attempts to just crack the formula, decided every team needed their pizza.
Yeah.
And the lengths they went were absolutely gonzo. Starting with Mike, the Wild West Cowboys, COW of Moo Mesa.
Yes.
What is their pizza?
Their pizza.
That's a tough one for me.
I wanna say it's steak and they're cannibals.
It is weird that they're giant cow people and they ride horses.
I'm gonna say
that's because if you were struck by the comet's energy, you were uplifted to the mesa. But animals that weren't in the comet's energy path stayed domestic. They ride sheep. They ride horses.
It just looks unsettling.
The comet also hit specifically one buzzard and one scorpion. Voiced by Jim Cummings. I'm gonna say corn.
No, that would make sense. Hay, silage, any great things a cow would eat.
Yeah.
No, the Wild West Cowboys Moo Mesa lose their absolute shit over sarsaparilla. Every episode, they got to get back to the saloon for an ice cold sarsaparilla.
Okay, that's fair.
And honestly, that's a Western trope.
Yeah.
Sarsaparilla for sure. Is it sarsaparilla have alcohol in it?
No, it's kind of like a crude proto root beer.
Okay.
But it does have sass.
Yes. It has sass and it can cure your blindness.
Holden McNeely. The biker mice from Mars.
Fuck. I was hoping you were going to say partner commandos because isn't it apples?
It is. Which, no bonus points. The biker mice from Mars.
You actually lose points for knowing that.
What are their pizza? What food item do the biker mice from Mars, which, having watched the show, highly sensual. It is the most sexually adventurous of the shows.
I'd say Gargoyles created a generation of monster fuckers.
Oh,
I will say
absolutely.
Gargoyles is next level sexy as well in a weird way.
But they were actually trying to be more adult. Anyway, just stop dodging the question, McNeely.
Okay.
What is their pizza?
I don't. I'm trying to look at my notes.
Here's a hint. It is very important to the lore of Biker Mice from Mars that they live in Chicago.
Okay. Deep dish pizza. Wet meat.
No.
Hot dogs?
Mike, you don't get to steal the point, but it is hot dogs are their pizza.
Okay, one of them said it's burger time, and I can't remember which cartoon it was.
Well, I knew it wasn't cheese because Limburger is the main villain, and there's a lot of cheese puns with the Plutarchans. Yeah.
Oh, wait, Street Sharks. At one point, they said, all right, burger time, and I wrote, just doesn't have the same ring to it.
They also do eat the street.
Yeah.
Mike, this one is kind of you know what? You're wearing a Street Sharks shirt, so I feel like it's what is the pizza of extreme dinosaurs?
Man?
Spin-off.
Some of them are herbivores. I'm going to say that it's tacos.
It is Mexican food in general. That is correct. Every episode, they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to get a burrito."
How does he get that one? That's insane.
It's for the love of the game, Holden. Fucking lock in.
Well, because I look at what you just even said there, right? Of like, they said Mexican food, which is too wide an umbrella, and then Deadpool years later narrows it to just the funniest one.
Yeah.
And boom, you got it. History.
Well, I'd argue Chilaquiles also has some funny stuff going on, but you're right. The
Chimichanga has more name recognition.
Think of the funniest to dumb people.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And then Holden, I'm tossing it back. What is the pizza of the Street Sharks?
Oh, we're back to it's not burgers?
It is burgers.
Okay, they said it's burger time. I wrote it down in my notes.
All right.
It was the one that I wrote down in my notes. Because again, it's burger time. Doesn't quite have the same ring as it's pizza time.
But the burgers are made of girls that swim too close to the shore in Amityville.
Yeah.
So the question I have right now for this is, why did they need a pizza? Why did all of these shows have to have a pizza? What is the reason they needed to just like meet the formula?
I mean, a part of it, I think, is merchandising. That you look at like the Ninja Turtles movie, and then you have is it Domino's in the first one?
Uh-huh.
It is.
Yeah. So then you have that cross promotion and all of that. It's a thing that makes them human to children, even though they're these giant weird monster things. Oh, they like a food I like.
Also, it's Ninja Turtles, and I think we lose this in a lot of these shows we're about to talk about, but they're about the party. They're about partying, and when you're a kid, you can't party with like alcohol and cocaine. I mean, you have, so the replacer for that is like, what is it? It's a pizza party, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, I had pizza scratch and sniff stickers that were Ninja Turtles edition. They smelled like barf.
Yeah, but you also look at like they had the pizza shooter tank, which was awesome.
We talked about how fucking much that tank ruled, dude.
Yeah, and if you go to if you had a Ninja Turtle party, you already knew what to provide for food.
Yes.
No, these are all like clear, cogent points.
Yeah,
yeah. And then, but it was funny though. Then they were like, "Yeah, but like we can't sell Ninja Turtle pizzas at stores." So what they did was, they just did the Chef Boyardee weird shapes as pasta, which by the way still works. My kid Logan, he loves macaroni and cheese Mario shapes.
Yeah.
And Paw Patrol shapes. That shit holds up.
It goes along with kid stuff, but also I do think it just comes down to men in suits in a room having serious discussions about how they're going to create a turtle killer. And one of those elements is we need to have our version of the pizza element of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which it was because it was so ingrained in the show. And I mean, we just talked about the pizza shooter thing, like it was in all the toys,
it was
everything.
all the video games.
Raphael throws a pizza at the screen in the opening.
The problem is there anything
pizza time? In the Konami game,
even at my daughter's age, nothing is like says party more and like kids fun more than pizza. There's no. And so to try to replace it just feels futile.
Well, so this is. Well, I want to talk about like what the Ninja Turtles did right, how unique of a property this is, how it came at the right time, at the right place with the right people. And the most succinct version, I think we can say, is that it was the 80s. Comic books were having this creative renaissance. We were getting new, exciting writers, new, exciting imprints. And in that mix was Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, two nerd buddies in Massachusetts. I think it was like their local comic book shop just was like, hey, you guys should hang out sometimes. And during like a
And
random,
if you don't know, Peter Laird looks like an actual turtle. So I think there was like a empathy in the comics that he had as a fellow turtle person.
the design of the Shredder was literally just them hanging out at a dinner party, and one of them just like grabbed a cheese grater like a gauntlet and was like, "I'm the Shredder."
And Eastman did also look like a sewer. And, then they looked at Peter's last name and said, there's a layer in the sewer. That's how
Don't confuse the people with these fake facts.
But then I think, you start from there, Jake, and, borrowing from these popular, comic book tropes at the time, but then you get the sheen of a David Wise, right? And it's the combination of these things.
So there's so much happening because, Eastman and Laird bring in...
They are the pizza. David Wise is the toppings.
Honestly, yeah. It's... it's funny animals, it's modern comic tropes, it's just this like soup of Gen X fascinations.
And can we also just say, as we're like analyzing this, and because this does replace He-Man, just the brightness of it. Like,
it reminds me of playing Witcher 3 for the first time and feeling like, finally I'm out of the dark days of Skyrim.
And a lot of He-Man, figures had bright colors and stuff, but you look at how muted the cartoon feels, and then how energetic just the opening of Turtles is.
Mm-hmm. So, I really want to talk about that. Yeah. So it's Playmates, a failing toy company. They released a animatronic doll called Jill, which is, if you ever look up the commercial for it, it is the most horrifying abomination. It's like Teddy Ruxpin. Don't worry about it, Adam. It's not on the playlist. They were flailing. They needed to make, they wanted to get into the boys figures line. They have a couple of meetings with Eastman and Laird because it is this like emerging indie comics hit.
And they met with a licensor, right? And that guy was like pushing Eastman and Laird. I'm just saying it wasn't just Eastman and Laird.
Yeah. And they decide to go all in on this animated kind of mini series to kind of test the waters. And this is another thing that could only happen at this exact moment. It was a time when the Japanese yen was in the shitter. The Japanese economy was in total free fall, and they could get Toei, the animation company behind Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, a legendary company, and they knock it out of the park. That Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles opening was storyboarded by Peter Chung, famous for Aeon Flux, worked on a ton of classic cartoons, and it is immaculate.
It's so hype.
Out the fucking walls.
Yeah.
Everything from like the way the camera pans, the high attention to detail in the martial arts, the characters' expressions. It takes David Wise's kind of ideas about each turtle's personality and color
I was
scheme.
about to say, I think the one of the big things, you kind of mentioned it to me the other day, and I really honed in on this. They really establish our four main characters' distinctive personalities right up top in this song to such a degree that I am already like totally clicked in to our main
I think
crew.
this is some of Chuck Lorre's best writing.
Oh,
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I wrote the theme song.
Honestly, a good theme song really matters, and so many of these shows have
Oh my God.
theme songs.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh my God.
Because it has to explain the concept. It has to get you energized. It's got to be something that it feels fresh the first time you hear it, but you never get sick of it either.
And there's a little bit of repetition, so it really hammers the brand in. So many of these cartoons that came after literally just repeat the name of the show 5 times over and over. And
my God, The Adventures of T-Rex. Not only just repeated over and over again, but actually just like keep jumping back to this shitty title card just for filler. And you can tell it's filler. I was so offended by The Adventures of T-Rex. We'll get to it later, but just in comparison.
So I think the real thing that separates the Turtles from He-Man and like all the things that came before it is that they gave the Turtles 4 distinct personalities, but they're all the same base turtle. Because He-Man's always just going to be He-Man, and then there's sidekicks. Batman's always just going to be Batman, and then there's sidekicks. In the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you can choose what version of the main character you resonate the most with. And so even though the toys themselves actually did a very good job on providing unique, we talked about this, tooling and modeling for all these distinct characters, that by kind of front-loading the 4 identical turtles except for their heads and coloring and like weapons accessories, they saved a ton of money, made a huge profit in a way that kids didn't feel like they were buying the same figure 4 times.
Yeah.
I would like to give some credit to Ghostbusters as well, and the real Ghostbusters cartoon and all of that.
Right.
Yeah. No, just to, and it's a really fascinating thing of like, you even see at Ghostbuster conventions to this day when, you can be whichever one you want. And not only that, you don't even have to, or Star Trek, right? Mm-hmm. When there's a uniform where you don't even have to be Venkman. It's you as a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do think that like Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters came out like a year before. And really the 4 distinctive personalities and just that feeling of like, you did have to get all 4. Mm-hmm. It was a team type thing. Like G.I. Joe did feel like there were core characters like, I gotta have Snake Eyes, I gotta have Duke. But then, Ninja Turtles, it's like, it is a non-negotiable, Mom.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck that you think they all look the same. They are not the same.
Yeah, this one's squinting. This one's got showing a little bit of teeth on the side.
Yeah, they changed which side the teeth grimace.
Yeah.
But in your mind, they are so different.
So different.
And the tone of green.
Yeah.
Each figure, that's not a thing that carried over into the cartoon. Mm-mm. But and a lot of that is our boy Mark Taylor. From He-Man, he designed a lot of these original Ninja Turtle toys.
Uh-huh. So the Ninja Turtles arrive. The animated series drops in 1989. It completely...
The pilot comes out in 1987. The series proper, I believe, comes out in 89.
Wow.
But the first 5 episodes, I believe, were 87 with the toy line.
But it completely breaks the mold. G.I. Joe and Transformers, which had overtaken He-Man, start going on the way out. Turtle Mania is hitting hard. And this is just it always goes back to like these larger forces. The regulations around children's cartoons shift ever so slightly. The kind of ass covering that a lot of these early companies had goes by the wayside. And they changed the ruling so that it's not that every show has to end with a like, hey kids, this week Michelangelo learned that infecting a computer virus in your brother's stereo is a bad idea.
Don't eat PCP.
Now, these Saturday morning blocks, they just dump all of their educational content into Bill Nye the Science Guy or Science Cord or just one like throwaway educational slot. And the rest of the shows can just be the toy commercials they really want to be.
And I cannot wait for these advertisements to be the advertisements that you want them to be.
Okay, so I'm looking just, because we try to get our facts here. So the original pilot 5-part series is considered season 1. That comes out December 28th, 1987 to January 1st, 1988, spanning 2 years.
I remember kind of fiending for more and only seeing the same 5 episodes and wondering why that was. And now I'm realizing
then
why that was.
Then the 13 episodes after that is 1988. And that's 13. And then we get our full 47 episodes season 2 in 1989.
Did y'all deal with this too? I don't know. It was brutal how challenging it was to rent the VHS versions of those at Blockbuster. They were always out.
Yeah.
It was like the holy grail.
And that first 5 was one.
Yes, was one package
that you could watch. Yeah.
I know Burger King had a giveaway where you could like kind of get those 5 episodes like in piecemeal as like as a special.
I also remember the Burger King toys. It was like the one time we went to Burger King. It felt like we were crossing a line of like going to something. It felt weird. It was like,
you were McTraders.
Yeah.
Young
we were
Mike
total
was just
McTraders.
staring at you through the window, being like, "You motherfuckers!"
No, I mean I remember Burger King also had Simpsons. They tempted you
every now and again. They'd pull you in. It felt so weird to go there.
Yeah, and when it was that thing, it was this like gradual, and those, like you said, the animation of those first 5. Remember, they even had a trading card series. Remember back then, the trading cards were just pictures of the show.
Yes, I completely remember those.
And it was, I think, just that 5-part series, and it's amazing to think that was our Turtles for an entire year.
Yeah, crazy.
And then, I think that really goes to when we're talking about some of these knockoffs where they pump them all out, 65 at a time. What these guys were able to do by having it be this one short season and then another shorter season and then your long season was kind of product testing and really seeing
what it was.
What works and what doesn't, as opposed to like, I hope you fucking like Biker Mice from Mars, because kids, we got 65 of them.
It is a shame that like once it finally went into a full syndication run, the Japanese economy vastly recovered and they could not afford to bring in that level of caliber. The shading, the fight choreography, the keyframes, all of these like highly skilled artisans. Yeah. Honestly, the hype and the intensity of those first 5 episodes and the opening sequence really carries so much of the cool factor as the later seasons, especially the Red Sky seasons, just devolve into just cheap animation errors, hokey plots, and just like the epicness, the like cool factor is just completely being carried by this initial episode.
No, and a lot of those shows, like I think, hold up in a way. Like DuckTales started as a 5-parter, and I think so did G.I. Joe, and that you have a more high quality introduction of everything, and that it is 5 parts. They're not rushing it so much. You really don't see that much of like Shredder in the first episode.
So it's time now to get to the parade of crap.
To unlock the vault. Yeah.
The dumpster.
This is a cartoon dumpster.
By the way, this episode is brought to you by Pup and Jared's Cartoon Dumpster, live on Twitch every single Thursday. I felt it coursing through my veins as I was watching this. I'm just, again, felt like I was just in Jake's world for this episode prep.
The first one out of the gate, because it takes a massive amount of turnaround to get the toy line started, to get the animated series going, and all of these things have to go in sync. It has to be a massive kind of push, is Toxic Crusaders. Now, the thing with this
So we're just not going to talk about Barnyard Commandos?
We are not going to talk about Barnyard Commandos. It's more of a G.I. Joe kind of riff than a hero team, I would say.
It's so weird and bad, and it's one of those things that you watch it, like Jake added it to our episode prep. I guess we'll just say like there's something, it's something that I want to continue to study for how weird and bad it is.
But it felt like a cross of let's try to get that Turtles and G.I. Joe money.
And
they also had a toy around the time called Army Ants. And so it was just like the military, kids like that. But they like the animals.
They like humanoid animals.
And I don't know if I may have told this story in our like childhood episode, but one time when my dad wanted to punish me, I talked about my stepdad throwing out all my He-Man figures. This might be more traumatic. My dad took one Barnyard Commando on an ironing board and cut it in half in front of me.
Oh my God.
He butchered.
Jesus.
It was one of the pigs, and it was just it was my bar mitzvah. Whoa. I was a fucking man after that shit. He just cut it in front of me, and he did
you a favor. I'm gonna say the pilot or whatever
whatever that was had such
so
weird, bad storytelling. It just felt. It was like a Pollock of a. It was just like let's just throw. It was just a series of moments, just barely stitched together.
On my stream, we watched this years ago at this point.
Yeah.
To this day, the official community code word for stop it. We agreed we want to watch bad cartoons. This is so painful that it's not fun. Please stop. Nobody's having fun. Is Barnyard Commandos. There's a tracker, and the amount of time Barnyard Commandos is invoked. If it hits 20, I stop the show.
And they only made 4 episodes.
Yeah.
It's just too many, but I just want to end this story because how often does someone talk about their mutilated action figure? Because all the Barnyard Commandos came with an attached accessory,
like an add-on,
a rocket pack or something. And I remember he didn't throw that out. He's like, I want you to know who's supposed to wear this.
Holy Jesus, God. You know, but I will say.
Yeah, so if you ever want to know why I'm me.
I will say, you know, there are issues also with.
That was the good dad.
Gentle parenting has its issues too.
I know.
You know what I mean? And we can unpack this.
There's times where Logan's not listening and I'm like, do I just take one of these fucking dinosaurs? But then I know the end is he's me. And
yeah.
No one deserves that.
Break the cycle, Mike.
Yeah.
Break the cycle.
Break the cycle, not the pterodactyl.
All right. With that, on that note, we can move on from Barnyard Commandos. I wanted to give it its shine for a moment.
Barnyard Commandos was Playmates, and Toxic Crusaders was also Playmates.
Yes.
They like kind of knew what they had on their hands. And
I love that they also were just like, but we want more money.
Yeah.
Like they're pumping this thing out, but they are realizing, like, I think there's just gonna be a day when people don't want to say cowabunga anymore.
It's this is obviously based on the Trauma movie, very R-rated.
This is that weird lane that was so specific to this time period of the early 90s where like adult, I don't really think this happens anymore, but where adult franchises, Beetlejuice, RoboCop,
Rambo had a cartoon.
They get cartoons and they get toys, and you end up experiencing
Alien and Predator had toy lines.
Yeah, you experience the IP like well before. And I was trying to think like if there's a modern day equivalent. And I just think that nowadays they just understand the audience, I think, a little more in terms of dialed in commercialism. Like kids, it's like Marvel, but Marvel's already kind of tailored towards
what they do
all
now
audiences.
Is they just take those rated R movies from the 80s and they make them Stranger Things. They just find a way to kidify them just enough so that you get the adult audience that has the nostalgia and a new kid audience.
Yeah, and so it Toxic Crusaders really plays the most extreme angle of that. I mean, if you're at all familiar with Trauma, nothing about it is child friendly. It's such an anomaly that this exists. Yeah. That you know, and
it's porn without fucking. A lot of Trauma.
A lot of. I mean, their early movies were all not even horror based. Just sexy.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing with Toxic Crusaders is like part of their theme song is like, you know, they're gross and disgusting, but they can still get girls.
Adam, if you can play this is how much they wanted to replicate that lightning in bottle. This theme song is in fact also a Chuck Lorre joint.
It's such a. I wrote down. I was like, this is such a ripoff of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles song. We're gonna give it a spin.
Yeah.
Toxic Crusaders, Toxic.
What's the name of this franchise? I forgot. Now, a part of the formula that I think they were honing in on was the rise of like gross out as a vector for child marketing.
Yeah, well, because part of it was like the He-Man thing where I have the power now, Dad. With this generation, it was like, and it worked for my parents. It was like, let's gross out our parents.
Yes.
Because that's a way we can have power over them. We can gross them out.
No, literally, in a world where you had to obey the laws of regulation and the market, the only room for subversion, the only like room for agency, Mike's just rocking out.
This is especially Ninja Turtles. This is so Ninja Turtles right here.
Yeah, it's a very Ninja Turtles bridge.
Yeah, very much so.
Fighting team.
Yeah, you hear it right there.
Yeah.
But if in your commercial you can have...
Are you saying Chuck Lorre is derivative?
He has 2.5 ideas.
I mean, one of the characters is 2.5 men.
But if you, in your commercial, you can have a mom or a little sister go like, ew, that's power.
Yeah.
That's like agency.
Oh, and you had Nickelodeon with, the slime and all of that. And I mean, I had some of these toys. These were really cool toys. Playmates was like on the top of their game in terms of, the sculpting, the designs, those, the bad guy, like stormtrooper guys. I had one of those for years, the yellow one. It's like, they look cool. The main villain, Dr. Killimov, looks cool. I think when we are going to be, analyzing each of these.
We have to talk about the toys. Yeah.
Well, we have to talk about the toys, but we also do have to talk about the villains.
Yeah.
And, Jake, you, in your watch along list, you sent us just a run of the mill, and I immediately remembered the episode of Ninja Turtles, the Michelangelo birthday episode, where Well, first off, I had to look this up. Mama turtles can have up to 120 turtles at the same time. So the idea that Michelangelo would have a different birthday than them is very weird. And I always thought they were brothers.
Yeah.
Right? They are brothers.
Yeah.
So they would all have the same birthday. But besides that, the episode is everyone forgets Michelangelo's birthday. And then but Shredder and Krang, as in most of the episodes, are in it, and they have like some formula mutagen thing that can like make the turtles into like balloons or
Yes.
it's the dumbest shit. But I will say this, like Pat Fraley, who voices Krang, and my boy James Avery, Uncle Phil himself, they really do elevate the show.
Yeah.
They are
Agreed.
so funny.
They're like a classic comedy duo.
Yeah.
You know?
Or married couple.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a married couple.
Yeah.
And then, Bebop and Rocksteady are like the dumb friends that Shredder brings over to the poker game.
Yeah.
And it really, like, in watching a lot of these other ones where the villains are often too mean or scary for kids or too buffoonish.
Or just, too one note.
Yes.
Too like, which is fine to say about, because Ninja Turtles isn't so dynamic but just having, I think, the two characters there, the Krang and the Shredder, the ninja and the alien, it just makes it so much more dynamic and interesting and fun to watch.
Well, it keeps things personal between Shredder and Splinter. Like there's always a real vendetta there and a responsibility that Splinter has to stop this guy. But then, it's a lot of, like, you're right, like a lot of these cartoons, it's like they picked a Krang or a Shredder.
Yeah.
And it really was the combination of both that made it work. And I know Eastman and Laird hate Bebop and Rocksteady because they were for the cartoon and they're, they are stupid and dumb, but they really do like
They're
add
fun.
a level of fun, and the toys were fucking awesome.
Yeah, they add a fun factor that you just didn't see with a lot of the henchmen and major villains in the other shows. I completely agree. There was just a kind of a generic nature to the villains that were just made it so forgettable. And even here in this, I know you said the toy was great, but this guy, he's just, I don't know, he's like a generic ass. So many of them too are corporate CEOs.
Well, that's again part of what made this era so powerful is that we're dealing with the rise of Japan and like ninjutsu as this like way to kind of neutralize American economic fears, the rise of environmentalism as like a mass held like concern, the rise of commercialism and the rise of like kind of a post-TV generation making TV for itself. Toxic Crusaders, I feel like the real weakness of the show is it almost has too much trauma, like hot, like Americana parody happening.
Yeah.
Where like the kid audience is not on the same level of like, they're talking about credit card debt. They're talking about like marketing teams. They're talking about corporate malfeasance. Oddly enough, the next knockoff, and this is like the first like real outside competitor, is almost too sincere. And this is the Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa. The story of this one is actually fascinating because it's now the blood is in the water. I think we're at 1991. Enough people are like, see the billions of dollars that Ninja Turtles is making, and they're all scrambling to come up with their own thing. And weirdly enough, the first competitor comes out of the House of Turtles themselves. Illustrator Ryan Brown was integral to the early success of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was hired by Eastman and Laird to work on the Eclipse comics. He did licensing artwork for them. He was really vital in the Archie comics line as a writer and artist. And he ended up designing a lot of the kind of what were then known as the Mighty Mutanimals, such as Mondo Gecko, Wingnut, and I know Mike's favorite,
Screw Loose.
Ray Fillet.
Yeah. You had Ray Fillet. You had there was a Dreadmon. He was like some kind of like puma thing with a Jamaican accent. Mondo Gecko. Did you mention him?
Who cares?
Yeah. There was like a Jaguar. There was a few that they just recently released toys of that they hadn't. But,
Leatherhead. Leatherhead was another key one that he was behind.
Moo Mesa 92.
92 for
92
Moo Mesa.
Mesa.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Keeps us honest.
And I do want to circle back to Bucky O'Hare and the Toad Wars, but before we get to that, I just wanted to say about Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa. I feel like the Western was the boring thing your dad liked that you were forced to deal with on a Sunday afternoon.
Unlike the cool thing that people who want to fuck you like, which is these products.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it was like golf. It kind of went into the same category for me growing up. Young Guns 2 aside, okay, that was in its own little compartment of cool. Yeah. But besides that, I think the Western like symbolized the old way.
I know I'm going to piss a few people off here, but Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, it's going to be a little less fun this time.
Yeah. It kind of was the symbol. The Western was the symbol of less fun. I got into Westerns when I got older, grew a real appreciation for them. But I do remember the Western being in the compartment of things. Oh, no, that's what's on right now.
Because
I'm visiting my grandparents.
The Ninja Turtles had like extra dimensional alien threats and magical creatures and like kung fu assassins.
Baby.
And those shitty neutrinos that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
But the average Cowboys of Moo Mesa, by the way, COW, boys, that stands for Code of the West. It was about like mining rights and like an arranged marriage to the corrupt sheriff.
Yeah.
But
I did like that scorpion though.
It really was a case of Ryan Brown kept trying to get Mighty Mutanimals, which was his spin-off kind of original comic set within the Archie TMNT universe, its own like show. He really wanted to get the recognition and to like get control of these characters in a way that like he was kind of sidelined for a lot of the Turtles' success. They could not. He had a meeting with Ruby Spears, and they're like, "We don't. This is Playmates. This is not like we can't do this. I'm sorry, but obviously you know what you're doing. You've launched all these toys. You've created all these characters. What else you got?" And the what else you got was Cowboys. For all the underwhelmingness of the show, the Konami video game was fantastic.
Okay.
It's just Sunset Riders 2, essentially.
Yeah.
Which, why wouldn't you want that? Sunset Riders rules.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say one of the greatest theme songs. It is fantastic.
It's great.
Adam, if you can.
Comet
To the western sky.
Let's go.
The idea is a magic comet just elevated like 10 square miles of the desert, and all the animals stuck on it became anthropomorphic. Another case where like the action and the dynamism not captured in the show
Not
itself.
in the show at all, but it's a lot of fun to watch this intro.
By the Code of the West. Also, the girl cows are very upsetting looking.
Yeah.
I know all cows are girl cows, but like they like flatten their faces and give them eyelashes. It's like it's not happening. You're not gonna make sexy lady cows.
That's what works about April O'Neil. She's like an actual woman.
Yes.
Too much of one almost.
Yeah.
My other complaint about this, we're going to compare it to the Turtles. We're going to compare it to the Ninja Turtles here. They just didn't have that. What's funny too is it's clearly grown adults voicing the Turtles, but still, our main protagonists just don't feel like young enough and therefore fun enough and kind of connect. The connection just isn't there. I feel like I'm watching adults do it and do the adult thing, which is be in a Western. It just isn't gonna do it for me.
I mean, this came on, and I was just like, I don't like Westerns, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I was, and I mean, there are moments of it I like. I do want to give a shout out. Mikey jumped down a little bit of a rabbit hole here.
More of a cow hole, I assume.
Ugh.
Yeah, rabbit hole would be Bucky O'Hare. But looking at the different voice actors, Michael Greer, born James Robert Malley, he is like the main villain. He's like the evil like mayor guy. One of the first openly gay actors in Hollywood.
Gay villain trope, undefeated.
Known for his appearances in the films The Gay Deceivers and Fortune and Men's Eyes.
All right.
I mean, it's a big pioneer, and he's fun in the show. Like, I mean, look, man, one of the things that was interesting about watching all of these is how many of them get a lot of the same voice actors. It was fascinating to me. Yeah, like Jim Cummings is a Scorpion in this, like, and then he's like the mayor and SWAT cats. Like, it's like they had enough money to get him as a supporting, but not as a lead. It's like you need Disney money to get him to anchor your show. But Jeff Bennett, a young Jeff Bennett, I think this is one of his first roles, is in this. But Jeff Bennett, we will hear throughout a lot of these knockoffs, and then. If it's a Canadian show, I learned this. Scott McNeil is probably it.
Right. And a smattering of Cam Clarks, I assume, as well.
So we had Wild West Cowboy of Mesa in 92, but actually Bucky O'Hare in the Toad Wars, I have it listed as 91.
And the comics were in the, I believe, late 70s or 80s.
And I thought
Cerebus, Howard the Duck, like it's as even going back to Fritz the Cat, like for a generation raised on Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, and Donald Duck. Of course, as you come into your own, you're going to put these funny animal characters in more adult and interesting situations, and it's going to resonate with you. I mean, there's like not that blurry of a line between the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Bucky O'Hare, and Art Spiegelman's Mouse even. Like, it really is just part of that zeitgeist.
So Bucky O'Hare is created by, G.I. Joe legend Larry Hama and Michael Golden, who is one of the most influential comic book artists. If you like your McFarlanes and your Jim Lees, they all worship at the altar of Michael Golden, and they do this for continuity comics, which was a side thing of Neil Adams. But it is hilarious that this is a 70s thing, and this is, I think, 77. So this probably was after Star Wars, and that feeling of like, you said it. What else you got?
Yeah.
And everybody just looking at their old fucking sketchbooks and shit.
Bucky O'Hare was in development for a long time, and Neil Adams kept trying to make it happen, and it wasn't until the Turtle boom that like they were like, okay, we gotta go. Yeah. Really great NES game for that one as well.
I was surprised though when
That's
you were
a great Konami game too.
When you were leading up Cowboys of Mesa, you said this one was a bit self-serious. I was like, oh, we're definitely talking about Bucky O'Hare, because that was my big note for that show. Was it just took itself too seriously. It lacked that goofy fun of the Ninja Turtles, because all of these miss the mark in these big ways, and then this one I feel like it just
pieces of it. They're like
they get little pieces of
radioactive. That'll work. Okay,
sci-fi for this one. They got the space shit on lockdown on Bucky O'Hare.
We got the Turtles guy for this one. But again, this is Bucky O'Hare and Moo Mesa. That was Hasbro trying to compete with Playmates, and finally, it was time for Galoob to enter the fray.
The mere mention of its name can get a chortle from Mike. Galoob.
Oh, you best believe Galoob's ready to party.
If Gollum and Globus had a brother, it'd be Galoob.
This was the brainchild of Rick Unger, who worked for Marvel Productions as well as Fox Kids. And he just basically said, like, oh, we need a Ninja Turtles? Fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
And his answer was the Biker Mice from Mars. Do we have a commercial or a theme song? Oh my God, this awful theme song, genuine dog shit.
Biker Mice from Mars. Biker Mice from Mars.
This is awful. It's just this. Things about Biker Mice from Mars. Again, weirdly like anti-capitalist, anti-corporate. A lot of gross out humor in the villains and the bad guys. And I will just say this, while the Turtles like kind of had a crush on April, the human sidekick girl in this show is actively flirting with all the mice, and the mice are actively trying to get in her pants. They are exchanging like glances and like little like flirtatious moments. When I watched this on the Cartoon Dumpster, there were people being like, this was my sexual awakening. And I was like, all right, generic furries, like everything's your sexual No, this was a sensual show. They're in like harnesses and like leather.
Yeah. It's got like
fucky.
BDSM vibes. They're all like ripped. Well, you bring up an excellent point with the relationship between the turtles and April. It was always this like childlike flirtation because they're not really, this was in the era too of Big and stuff like that where, they would, it gets into this icky territory, but it's like, oh, it's like a kid kind of first discover, or like Weird Science, this kind of thing where it's like, oh, but they're awkward. So they don't quite know what to do. They just know they like girls, but they don't know how they like girls or like what to do about that. And so it's always like, oh, you turtles, like you silly geese, besides maybe Raphael, who kind of actually tries to make a little bit more of a play. But it felt like it had this innocence to it that I think got it over better for a younger audience.
Another thing that the Biker Meister Mars, I feel, not the characters are just, they're all three just various degrees of like gruff.
Well, the various degrees of gruff, there are various degrees of, prosthetics. Like the one guy's got like half a face, the other guy's got an eye patch, and they have like this like trauma that they carry with them that isn't fun.
No.
Yeah.
And then you have this feeling of like the antenna are like weird, but it's like clearly they're like, well, we gotta let kids know they're aliens. I remember this was one of those, this was syndicated. This came on at like 6:30 where I was, and I remember I'm like, if you were on at that time, like you had to be good enough for me to want to wake up to see you, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like it just. And there's like, an edginess to it that doesn't work.
I was going to say that they nailed one element and then lose the other elements. They nailed the tude. With Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you had to have tude, but you also had to have the comedy that they nailed in, let's say, like Toxic Crusaders, and they don't have that here. So if you have all tude and no silly goofiness, it's too much tude. If you have too much silly goofiness, you need a little more, so it's that perfect combination.
Can I throw this in the mix as well? Cowboys, dad shit, motorcycles are kind of dad shit.
Yeah, kind of dad shit too.
Well,
it feels very like,
And the main, the Limburger guy looks exactly like the Mr. Big from the Cops show, who's also, I think, like a big fat guy in a purple suit. And he physically isn't like compelling. Like he's not funny. And then they don't give him foils that he could really play off of, like with a Shredder and a Krang. And then like the unlikability of was his name Grease Pit?
Yeah.
and voiced by Brad Garrett. And he just leaks oil.
Yeah.
Like, he just sweats, but it's oil, and it's like it's not pleasant to watch.
Yeah,
to me, it ended up being grosser than anything in Toxic Crusade.
there was that trope around this time. We kind of talked about this a little bit with Masters of the Universe and the what's his name, the little guy that they added to that movie.
Orko or Gwildor.
Gwildor.
Just make everything gross.
Yeah, it's like instead of like trying to figure out how to make this funny, let's just what's funny? Just being really gross. It's kind of like the Garbage Pail Kids live action movie.
I mean, that's why I was added to the show. Hey guys, my name is Sassball.
Yeah, by the way, you sweat grease constantly.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. I feel like you're just triggered.
That's how long I was at McDonald's.
We have turned the AC up in the studio. Thank you for people who've watched our first video episode for noticing how shimmering and the words blotting paper was repeated multiple times. Just a quick 1-2 punch just to acknowledge them. First is Snailians, which was an attempt to kind of get
this one's wild because this one didn't get a show.
No, they just it's the exact same toys, again, in different colored plastic.
Yeah.
The gimmick is like freaky animal with a hard shell. Like they're really trying just to be like, it's like turtles, but different.
And the shells pop. They're like pogs, right?
Or what do you call those things that you wait for them to pop up?
It's like a thick rubber shell that when you invert it, as it like slowly comes back into shape, it all at once releases that kinetic
I
energy.
just love they're also like, and here's trading cards and a comic book. Just please buy this toy.
Hit that Snailians commercial. It's too intense. What I love about this actually is we didn't talk about this. The attempts to do the naming trope. because the Snailians were like Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and I don't Lincoln.
How
I don't know
did
if there
you
was a
even
Lincoln.
learn that?
I think it's just a Mount Rushmore. Guys.
Okay.
From JPI.
Never made it off the ground, and
It's also it's funny. It's Snailians and then Supersonic Shelf. Like it makes you think that it's going to be an acronym, and it's not.
No,
because they're like, we're already this lazy. We're not putting effort.
And I made you watch this.
Oh my god, dude!
The Adventures of T-Rex.
I actually kind of agree with Mike that this might be worse than Barnyard Commandos.
It's very bad.
Really fucking bad.
I don't think I've ever said this, and I've known you since 2009. Fuck you, Jake. No, seriously, this wasn't right.
This felt bad.
Okay,
Because this didn't
This
even
felt
feel
so bad.
This didn't even feel like it was close enough to being a knockoff. This just felt like you didn't want to live with this pain alone, and you wanted to share it.
Like
you didn't want to hear you didn't want to watch the adventures of Bernie, Bruno, Bubba, Buck, and Bugsy,
Oh my
the vaudeville
God.
comedian team by day and robotic dinosaur force by night.
there was nothing. This was such a bad copy, like such a weird.
And the main villain was like this bat dinosaur who looked like George Burns.
It was horrifying with the giant head. It's visually upsetting.
It really, when we were talking about, I brought this up that, there was a time period before internet porn where you had this weird lane of softcore porn. And softcore porn felt so different from like a normal movie. It just had a seediness, a cheapness to it. This is kind of how I would compare this to like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or really any of the other shows besides maybe Barnyard Commandos that we've talked about so far. It just feels like it's made out of cardboard.
Yeah.
Shall we watch the intro? The intro really pissed me off.
It's a minute and 14 seconds, and I don't want to give more of my life to this.
It's so long. And
This was a three-way production between France, America, and Japan. Madhouse actually did this animation.
the way
but then all the voices are Canadian.
Yeah, Ocean Group.
The shots of all of them like dancing together just make me so annoyed. And they keep cutting back to this logo.
It's a bad logo.
It's a bad logo, and they keep cutting back. Yeah, I feel like I'm in a cheap diner that serves bad food.
It's doo-wop and like the 1950s.
All right, we got it.
Cut it off. Turn it off.
Oh
so
my
bad.
God, dude.
It's also
so
that
bad.
voice. It sounds like if Dr. John wasn't smart enough to get his doctorate.
Yeah.
It's like Randy Newman hears that voice and goes, "That's a silly sounding motherfucker." What a goofy shit that guy is.
T-Rex.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's Louis Arm Week.
So these are the rushed attempts, I would say.
Yeah.
These are the just like desperately trying to put anything out there to try and catch this wave. As we get to 93, 94, things are actually getting pretty good. I don't know. Let's see. I guess we can. You said you actually really fell in love with SWAT Cats.
I think SWAT Cats is great.
Yeah, and I did want to mention, just because we're going through this timeline, they did make a Battletoads cartoon in 1992, written by David Wise. It is truly terrible, and they're humans that turned into the Battletoads in the cartoon, but it was a pilot. It didn't work because I remember like the game thinking like, oh, these are gonna be the next Ninja Turtles because the ads were everywhere, and then the game was. I think that the Battletoads show would have been so great if it was just 22 minutes of them on those bikes.
Yeah.
And they just
try
keep
to
dying.
jump. By the way, someone did it blind at AGDQ, literally with the blindfold on, got through that level where you
That's
have to
insane.
jump. It's kind of one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Also, though, is it not one of those things where it's like it's a thing and then they made a musical and then they made a movie adaptation of the musical? Like, is Battletoads not essentially people just going, here's a video game version of Ninja Turtles?
I think it's them trying. I think that
like we need to make this, but for video games.
I think what happens sometimes is that these are like 3 or 4 pronged attacks.
Right.
They have the toys lined up. They have, but we'll get them through video games first. Like
yeah,
the way
we'll
that,
get them over there. First.
Mario was video games, but then it became cartoons and a movie. And
just in case people don't think we're like idiots here talking about this element of it, yes, of course, the other thing Ninja Turtles had going for them is they have, I'd say, 2 of the most iconic beat-em-ups of all time in the heyday of beat-em-ups.
I mentioned
More.
I mentioned that of like, I mean, that's what helps with Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
That you have your first two villains that you could put in every video game.
Yes.
And then even Krang and Shredder as your
Boss.
second to last
and
boss.
our boy Baxter, dude.
You
Come
know.
on, man. I mean, there were so many good villains to throw in to
and I
a really
guess-
good beat 'em up.
Yeah, and I guess like the adventures of T-Rex, you would just fight smooth jazz.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the final boss.
Yeah, they had so many iconic like they had such an ideal an actual rogues gallery.
Yeah.
That you got the alligator guy,
Leatherhead, yeah.
Leatherhead, Baxter Stockman.
You had all
right? Was that
those,
his name?
the Dimension X, like the big rock creature guys.
Yeah, those guys were great.
And your Foot Clan.
And the crazy mutated version of what is that? Secret of the Ooze with the crazy mutated
Super Shredder?
No, you're thinking
yes,
of Baxter Stockman. But he's a
Toka
fly.
and Razor.
well, wasn't there also like
Slash?
a tortoise and something? Yeah, Slash.
Toka and Razor.
Toka and Razor.
But there
yeah.
also is Slash.
But they-
had
but-
two different evil turtles.
Yeah, Slash ruled as well.
Yeah.
There were so many great ones that you could, put into a great beat 'em up. And by the way, I'm referencing Turtles in Time in that initial Ninja Turtles beat 'em up in terms of the most iconic ones.
Yeah.
And a really shitty NES game. But what's funny is like everybody had to have that game.
Oh, yeah.
If you had an NES and you didn't have that game, it was like weird.
I mean, even Stone Protectors has an SNES game. We don't have to. They
Stone
were
Protectors, they had two different attempts. I remember I had some of these figures. There were Stone Protectors, but there were also these rubber troll dolls that they had like a robot one and all of that. They tried to get trolls into the boy space in the early 90s.
Everybody wanted in the boy space. Some would say they still do.
If you want to
I'm not touching that one. Whoa.
But SWAT Cats, this was Hanna-Barbera getting into the game, being
Yeah.
like, we need a cool animal action series for boys that we can turn into toys and turn into an empire.
Yeah.
This was fantastic. It has great anime aesthetics. It has a rockin' soundtrack. What's not dad shit? Fucking high-powered fighter jets.
Yeah.
That's cool as fuck. Great voice talent, great villain designs. Honestly, this show was on top of the world. And you know what killed it? I always thought that SWAT Cats was just like a cult hit. I thought it was like, oh, this was like my secret special show.
Well, because it was on TBS and it came out. You had Two Stupid Dogs and this. And I mean, I remember like this was like cable's badass. Like you couldn't see something like this on your regular pussy TV. You got to pay extra for SWAT Cats, and what killed this?
So it was Ted Turner himself. Turns out it was one of the most highly rated in terms of viewership kids shows at the time. And Ted Turner, I guess Jane Fonda did some worm tongue shit and was just like, there's too much violence in TV right now. Kids are having the wrong messages. And
Or
Ted Turner,
shaped her tongue like a worm in his butthole.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were going with it. Yeah.
no. I more,
Every night was 6:05.
Yeah.
Hey,
Show up with
folks.
one of those big straws.
Yeah.
Hi, folks. It's me, Jake Young from Nerd Mouth Podcast. I want to take a moment to tell you that I don't eat ass. Never have. Probably never will. Maybe if someone really wanted me to, I'd see, but probably not going to happen. And that's a guarantee.
I'll baby bird. I'll like have my wife chew something up and spit it in my
I mean,
mouth.
I eat ass on this show every time I tell a joke that doesn't work.
But yeah, Ted Turner literally killed it at its height because he was just like, I don't like, too violent.
And this is pre-Batman the Animated Series, right? Because I feel like
I love the idea. He's like, you know what? These kids, they can't handle SWAT Cats. They're a little too violent for them. You know what? You know what children need? 12 hours of the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. But yeah, SWAT Cats, I bring that up just because it felt like an early example of treating your kid audience with a level of respect that you just feel watching it. You're like, oh, wow, they respect the audience, even though they're clearly making a show for children. That the storytelling is just on another level. The animation so much better. Everything, especially when you're in the mire of these knockoffs, getting to SWAT Cats in this like list of shows you sent us felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt like taking the heavyweights off, in a workout and being like, oh, this is so nice.
I think it also, and this will set up probably the next cartoon we're going to talk about, but you really can't avoid how revolutionary Batman the Animated Series was. And that was on network TV, and the quality of that, and that SWAT Cats, had some of just that feel, like a lot of things that like Batman the Animated Series did that I don't think it gets enough credit for. Andrea Romano, who I think probably worked on some of these shows beforehand, she didn't want your run-of-the-mill voice actors. Mm-hmm. So we're watching these and we're hearing the same guys over and over again. She's like, they're not coming on my fucking show. And it did make it feel different. And, you look at the opening. I still think Batman the Animated Series, the opening minute is one of the best openings ever. And it's just orchestral music.
Yeah.
And that extra, like, I think what they really did more than a lot of these was it did show, like, now, if you put more money into these things, it will be good. And SWAT Cats does look like it has more money, which also probably made it easier for Ted Turner to pull that, even the violence of all of it. But it's like, it probably was doing very well, but how well it had to do for how much it cost.
And nobody really remembers their SWAT Cat toys, which is a huge.
They only had 4.
Motivation, yeah.
They had 4 toys. They had they had the 2 guys and then 2 of the villains, and they never got the vehicles, which is where your big money would have been with that show.
Yeah.
But that kind of push for quality, the influence of Batman the Animated Series, there's no better place to kind of where all these forces came together than Disney's Gargoyles.
Oh yeah,
which is you were queuing it up.
Yeah,
it's Batman the Animated Series meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have a hero team of freaks in a human world, which is super. Anytime you set it in a universe where like everybody's an animal, it really loses some edge.
Yeah.
And it's so New York that the characters are named after New York.
Right. Yeah. It's Bronx, Brooklyn,
Broadway, Lexington.
Oh, okay. There's no Staten Island, the gargoyle?
No, but there's Hudson, and he looks like Staten Island, the gargoyle. Just missing an eye and voiced by Ed Asner. I'll shake you.
And Goliath.
Don't even get me started on Penn Station. That guy that just keeps barfing on himself and passing out.
They actually hired a bunch of the people from Batman the Animated Series to give it that, I believe the term was Deco Noir.
Yeah.
Dark Deco.
Dark Deco. That's
that like Rockefeller Center kind of vibe at night. Thing.
And it was like, and you had your April.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they went there with her and Goliath of like they got feelings for each other.
And you mentioned Biker Mice from Mars being people's sexual awakenings. I actually know, I think Gargoyles, I think maybe Jackie's spoken towards this.
You want a Bona Demona?
It did, I think, create a generation of like monster fuckers that we are now being catered to in adult novels today.
Keith David's soothing baritone. This
is like this is probably a lot of ladies like pre-Twilight kind of awakening thing.
Yeah, and I mean, this had Ed Asner, this had like everyone from
sexual
Star Trek.
Dynamo Ed Asner.
No, we did have Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sirtis, fucking
Brent Spiner as Puck.
Brent Spiner, sexual fucking powerhouse.
And this was a show I missed out on.
Come on, man. Him in Independence Day with that hair. I would.
And this is a show that I missed out on, but I will say this is the one show I think of this entire list where in hindsight people went, no, Gargoyles was actually legit, held up, beloved by the internet, carried through all these years, and is now looked at as like a high point, just like Batman the Animated Series.
Holds up 100%. Yeah. It's really good to watch even today.
Yeah, it's very strong.
I think to me, the sin for me, I think was I was like a year too old.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't as good as Batman.
Sure.
And
it wasn't Batman. I mean,
but
that's the other thing,
But in our watch along, and I know Jake had us watch the episode The Mirror, which I know is one of the more beloved episodes. It was a great episode of television, and it had like real like pain to it. And I mean, the series starts off in like 900 AD, and it has like all of this lore. The music's great. Yeah, Keith David is phenomenal on this show. I remember they NECA, they did adult toys of this. And, you know, like I said, I wasn't a big Gargoyles guy, but I did get a Goliath. And then I got a Demona. And then it's like, it's so funny. These are the hardest toys to display because of the wingspan.
Yeah.
And they just knock everything else off your shelf. And I'm like, I think I'm good.
Yeah. How were the toys for kids? Like, was that a huge market? Do we know?
I mean, I don't remember anybody having like Gargoyles shelves or having the Gargoyle.
They had a few
Chrysler
waves.
Building playlist.
Yeah, I know that they had a
Mommy,
toy line.
Daddy, I want a Xanatos. Like that's not a phrase that
it
was
wasn't
ever uttered.
quite. Yeah, it didn't really quite hit the mark in terms of that. Whereas I would say the Batman the Animated Series toy line was, I mean, at least for me, very substantial.
And let's also, you know, talk that like we're now in 1994. Power Rangers is the fucking awesome sauce.
Yeah.
To this age group that they're going after. You know, I think like Gargoyles might be the slightly older brother, but like Power Rangers toys in 94 were selling everywhere.
We're the Christmas rush too. What was it? The White Ranger was like the Tickle Me Elmo of that Christmas season. It was the thing that people were freaking out and getting into fist fights, parents on the, at the Toys R Us lot.
This is a revelation I had, which kind of tied back into our He-Man episode. Check it out. And that is that, honestly, if you did capture that lightning in a bottle, you found all the disparate psychological and marketing and cultural elements that resonates with an 8-year-old boy at that exact moment, you're only going to get 4 or 5 years out of that, because at a certain point, those 8-year-olds become 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds, and they're done. And what appeals to the next crop is going to be completely different because just generational subtleties are what they are.
Yeah, because then, like, the kids that were into that, then they got into Pokemon and SpongeBob, and they never sought anything else in their audience, and we're very thankful for that.
One of the things that the reason why Ninja Turtles is the only one of these that really is still relevant is because they were smart enough that they just relaunched, fiddled with the dials, and each new iteration had something new to say to the next generation.
Yeah, they made it through some dark days. We talked about it in our Ninja Turtles episode. They made it through some dark days, and then they managed to continue to strive with different efforts. And even up to this day, I mean, that brilliant swing with the more recent animated movie, leaning more into them as teenagers, just reinventing it in this like Spider-Verse almost kind of way where it's like, oh, wow, this feels really fresh and for a whole new generation of kids. For some reason, it's just more adaptable than Ninja Turtles.
I think it's really important that it doesn't come from a cynical place, that it was these two guys entertaining each other, and that there was like a joy to all of it. And when you try to just be the next big thing and you're rushing and you're cutting corners, there's oversights of certain things. We could do it this way. We don't have time to do it that way. You start to make all these mistakes. And I think, like I said, it really was with Turtles the perfect marriage of these two indie guys who weren't fucking broken by the industry, and a guy like David Wise who did work on He-Man and these other things, who had a little bit more leeway, and they were able to combine it into something that really did work, and that you can still, it can still mutate, pun intended, of like when you look at like Mutant Mayhem, when you look at the 2012 show or the 2003 show, you can make it a little darker if you want. You can make it a little more kid friendly. Mm-hmm. But these other things of like Biker Mice from Mars, I'm sure like Rick Unger was like, no man, this is what I really believe in. We're still like, no, buddy.
Yeah, and
you fucked up.
We see this today with like the gold rush after the Barbie movie, where we saw people being like, now we'll do a Polly Pocket movie. It's like, that's not what got people to the theater. It was not just, and whereas like, so Ninja Turtles was inspired by all these cultural things happening at once, whereas Biker Mice from Mars is inspired by Ninja Turtles.
So, Mike, you mentioned missing the moment after it's passed.
Yes.
You mentioned rushing things and making cynical decisions. You mentioned a total lack of joy or care in a product. So I think now is the time to bring up our Jossum squad, the Street
The
Sharks.
Street Sharks. I will say,
Mattel, at long last, Mattel has entered the fray.
Let us end the streaks of positivity.
I mean, I will say, I feel like we've talked a lot about toys for each one of these. I think this one had one of the stronger toy outings compared to a lot of these other ones.
Because it's a toy company, yeah.
Yeah, and so you would just with these. It was this weird. It was like they combined the He-Man chunky thing.
It's
with,
literally the decisions that led to He-Man led to they just took the He-Man formula and applied it to Street Sharks.
Yeah.
What's cooler than Turtles?
With a combo of Ninja Turtles, right? Yeah.
The kids say the animal they think is cooler is sharks. Great, it's sharks. What's like
and later dinosaurs, right?
They're like, what makes kids feel cool? Muscle. So they added insane musculature to sharks.
They're so chunky. Talk about not being able to stand.
Impossible to animate.
Yeah.
Every
stand
episode
up.
of that cartoon.
I would even say just stand up.
I'm sorry, hit that theme song. It's so brutal. Although it had a killer sax solo.
Yeah, I love the sax.
But they don't make sense in motion. They do not.
Right.
Also, the personalities of each shark is like Streaks is the one with rollerblades, but rollerblades is not a personality.
Right.
Big Slamoo is just kind of the dumb guy, but they forget that. And the Hammerhead guy is just like, I have a weird head.
I do like the surf rock vibes of this opening. The music.
Hold on, sax solo break.
Yeah.
Big man blow.
In my head canon, it's the guy from Lost Boys that's covered in oil.
He performed at Dan St. Germain's wedding.
Yes, yeah. It's amazing.
The attempts for catchphrases in this show is so.
I know.
Jossum, let's kick some fin.
Yeah.
It's just every episode they just keep flailing for anything.
And one of them just playing the drums. Okay, so one of the fascinating things as we're going through this, I think, is reminding our audience, because it does feel a bit of a Mandela effect of like how late this came out, where I think we would assume that it was closer to the beginnings of not even the beginnings, but the height of Turtles.
Right.
This is such a 91, 92 rollerblades, like you said. Then you have you try to do your Bebop and Rocksteady with fucking Slobster.
And Killamari.
Yeah.
Slobster.
And I forgot the name of the one.
And Killamari.
He's like a marlin with the nose.
Corkscrew swordfish.
Yeah, he's a swordfish, yeah. And then Dr. Piranhas, but he's like weird where, he does the thing that Limburger did where like he changes heads. Like that is a fun action feature, but like for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
This is a thing in the show, because I've watched a lot of Street Sharks on the stream.
Honestly,
is that like they're going for this thing where like by day he's like a respectable member of the community with nefarious like plans,
and he's always wearing like this giant robe.
He's still in a giant suit, and people treat it
bubble. And
he looks insane, but he's like talking to the president.
Yeah.
By the way, my favorite line from the episode you sent us: "Wow, Mr. President, this is such an honor. My friends call me Slamoo." The fuck? Also, I wrote this down, and I think this is where it lives and dies with so many of these. Just like all the others, how did they not get this note? Strongly get across what makes each shark a different personality element in the team. Just like you said, they're all kind of the same, and they're just not. It's so funny. It's like with the turtles, they all kind of look the same. They just have a different colored bandana, whatever eyepiece thing. But we distinctly know each one's personality, whereas in every other one, they like visually make them distinct, but then they don't go, this is the fun one. This is the leader. This is the, does the machines.
And then they have that Pauly Shore looking motherfucker, Benz, who is no April. Then you also, like, Splinter was important to the formula. Having, yes, you were also able to sell his toy too, but having someone oversee these guys and give some direction and purpose to.
Yes.
Whereas you look at like Street Sharks, it's like none of them seem smart enough to lead or do anything on their own. And the only thing they can add is more characters. So when you bring in Moby Lick, you know, and these other characters,
Which is they already used the name Slamu, even though he's not a orca. That's very weird.
Yeah.
and it's also they're so terrifying to the point that there's no world where people would see them and not just be fucking terrified.
Yeah.
Because they're ugly.
Yeah, I wrote this down for a lot of these shows. Like, they got really into gnashing teeth.
Yeah.
Like, spiky, crazy they're like, this is what kids want. Just crazy, gnarly spike teeth.
Okay.
And it's so...
Kids as a self-defense move will bite you.
So this is, I didn't know how we'd get to this, but I think now is the time. If you scroll to the bottom of the list, Adam, one of the only legacies of Street Sharks is that at a toy fair, a young man was tasked with pitching the toys to potential buyers in one-on-one presentations. He wore no shirt and a black vest. He had an intensity that would surely carry him into superstardom, and that young man's name was Vin Diesel.
And let me just say, it's amazing they didn't make him change his name to Finn Diesel.
This is Boomer.
This is Vin Diesel just with a table full of these sharks at Toy Fair 1994.
Hell yeah.
Power slam.
He's a troll Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
He loves to tenderize the competition before
He's giving his all. He cares so deeply.
Sledge the Hammerhead.
Oh, wow. This is like before the show. They didn't even like nail down the designs or anything.
Do you think he used the Street Sharks when he like went into the pitch meeting for Fast and the Furious?
Yeah.
He came in and was like, it's going to be kind of like this. This is Hammerhead. He drives the fastest.
Shark skin. And
he's got a shark tooth necklace.
The right hand roundhouse punch. He sends the competition to a watery grave. Boom! Death. I want to show you something.
Oh, wait, this is the greatest moment.
Personal. I've got something here with such fantastic detail, it's going to blow you away.
Fantastic.
He does look amazing.
I'm doing Rocky Balboa action.
Dude, hell yeah. This fucking roll.
Can I also say something that's amazing about that is that he looks so much like The Rock, but before The Rock. Like, that looks 1998, like, it doesn't matter, you know, leader of the Nation of Domination, Rock, and that's like 3 years before.
Yeah, incredible.
You can look, what's great about that clip is you could both see why he made it and they did it.
Yeah.
Why they were knocked to a watery grave.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Knocking out some other also rans. We don't have to get into this, but in 1996, Disney tries again, and Mattel helps them with the Mighty Ducks.
God damn, what
Who
the hell,
gives a fuck?
dude? This was, and it was like, I was also kind of fatigued at this point in the research week. But I just remember throwing this on and just feeling so low, man.
But my favorite thing about the Mighty Ducks lore is that the idea is they're like from an alien world, and that it's not just that they're from
a different duck planet than Howard.
Right. It's not that they came from a duck world and they invented and they like came to Earth and they're like, oh, wow, hockey. And it's not that they came from a hockey world and got mutated into ducks. They specifically come from a planet defined by ducks and hockey equally.
Specifically ducks that play hockey. And I just think a better idea, I know you said like, oh, it's not fun to have a world with animals, but what if it was a human world, but all of the sports teams were the animal mascot?
Incredible idea.
Yeah. Right?
Incredible idea.
So you're fighting the mighty mice and the whatever, and
you just want to voice Gritty.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, yeah, team of Gritties. But how I think that is a much more logical suggestion. By the way, this is my favorite line from that episode that you sent us. I don't want to hear about your troubles, Phil. I want to hear about ducks.
Okay, so what was amazing about the Mighty Ducks is this first episode, the framing device is a detective and his chief. And they're remembering when they first met the Mighty Ducks. The detective is played by James Belushi, and the chief is in the thick of it, NYPD Blue Dennis Franz.
Again, Disney money, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Jeff Bennett in this show as Duke Larange. Like, I love that they like.
Oh, the villain cast is incredible.
Yeah, the villain cast. Frank Welker plays like a chameleon dude. You have your Brad Garrett. This is during his Everybody Loves Raymond money. And then nice to see you again, Dennis. Then you have fucking Tim Curry, who is still probably pissed at Mark Hamill all these years later, and Tony Jay.
That's like a fucking murderer's row of foreboding villain actors.
Yes. It's pretty great.
Warner Brothers enters the fray with Road Rovers.
Man,
Again, too little too late.
My one note here was I just wrote, this is just nothing.
Yes.
It is such a nothing burger.
It's Tom Ruger, the guy that did Tiny Toons and Animaniacs and all that. Like it has
a pup named Scooby-Doo.
It lacks any of the charm of anything you just named.
And I'll say the theme song has that like Animaniacs hysteria because he did that one too. He did do some early Batman the Animated Series. He worked on the Grey Ghost episode.
Warner Brothers guy.
Yeah, he was a Warner Brothers guy. And it's funny because by the time this comes out in '97, and I remember Sundays WB had their lineup, which this came on, I'm pretty sure, after Superman the Animated Series.
Oof.
Yeah, it could not compete.
Yeah. Brutally not. Just, it had no or so little. It was doing a lot of it, they do it in Toxic Crusaders. They do it in some of these shows. I'm trying to think. There was another one, maybe Avenger Penguins, which we hadn't even talked about.
We're not talking about Avenger Penguins.
But they do the meta thing, and I just think that the meta thing doesn't really work for that specific age
Turtles
group.
Does the meta thing?
Do they do it? Because I was trying to remember something and it
Raphael
hit
delivers like half of his lines to the fourth wall.
Yeah, okay. Because I was trying to remember. I was like, I just feel like it always fell flat in these examples. It just felt like it was very
in the episode
limp.
we watched, Rocksteady even says, "I think it happened in a different episode."
Oh, okay, you're right. But for some reason they pulled it off better. I don't know what it was.
And then they do it in a few of the other ones because I think they think that that's part of the formula is the winking and all of that. Road Rovers, it's interesting because it's like, they don't take it seriously enough. And you look, you're at 1997. So you already have this way more energetic stuff that's happening on Cartoon Network as well.
Nicktoons also happening.
Yeah, but you have like these animators, these young animators. I might be wrong here. Had Powerpuff Girls already premiered
by 97? That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So you look like even they have like a Professor Utonium type character in this. It was like, good dogs. You're good dogs. And it's like, but the professor's way better.
98. Powerpuff Girls 98.
There you go. See? All right, my bad. But you did have Dexter's Laboratory already. It just feels like there was an energy that this like was losing already.
Because
Turtles was going off the air around this time.
Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory didn't watch that and go, they're just trying to be the Ninja Turtles,
No.
like on any level, like they're just
you're like, this is fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And this didn't even get toys.
Yeah.
No. Street Sharks begat, originally backdoor piloted as the Dino Vengers, but it's Extreme Dinosaurs.
I mean, this again, talk about it's just Street Sharks, but with dinosaurs. What's cooler than sharks? Dinosaurs, especially after Jurassic Park came out. Yeah.
4 years earlier.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that like now the turtles themselves are dinosaurs. Now when Extreme Dinosaurs is coming out, we're about to get fucking turtles with titties. We're about to get the next mutation.
Oof. Hit that Extreme Dinosaurs. Just a taste.
Something's really rocking on planet number 3.
This is so dated. Nobody wanted this.
Yeah, it just feels I can't believe we're even trying at this point.
And the bottom of the barrel. Oh, we'll get to the chorus. Extreme Dinosaurs.
This did Jack Black write this theme song?
I mean, can you pause?
Sounds like Tenacious D.
I mean, buddy, if you were a guttural singer in the fucking 90s, if you could do this, like you had fucking money for the end of 1999, and then it stopped. But it's so interesting. Extreme Dinosaurs, like it's like my kid fucking like his favorite thing right now is dinosaurs. And you watch like I tried to get him to watch this and he was bored.
I agree. It's smart kid.
It's also, I think, if there's something like as we're winding down here that I really took away from this, and I really do hate you for this, Jake. Is that
Just this?
No, just this. I love you about it. Everything. You're one of my best friends. I'd die for you. But this really made me like I said. This week of research.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Jake. But
Yeah, it was brutal.
this. What this did was, it made me realize that my cartoons were as bad as the cartoons that I thought sucked when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I was like, because I remember in the 90s going over to my step grandma's house and watching Cartoon Network for the first time and seeing all the shitty 70s
Thundar, Herculoids, that
70s and 60s and 80s, and I'm like, this old stale crap. My shit is so much cooler than this. And now realizing I'm just as old and my cartoons are just as bad, watching all these in a row, and I'm like, oh man, it really hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, you deserve. I'm not going to say God bless you because you deserve that sneeze.
Yeah.
It really was so much fun.
Look,
It was so great. We haven't even gotten to cyborgs, which is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my
Cyborgs
life.
is the absolute bottom of the barrel.
no. Let me just finish this rant, Jacob Youngafitz. It's an important lesson to learn. I just wish I didn't.
Yeah.
But it is a thing of like, you can't. Anytime that we're like, look, I can put Batman up against anything. I can put Simpsons up against anything. But it's like watching this shit. It's like, man, even like Johnny Quest had more heart than this crap.
The thing about doing the stream every week, the Cartoon Dumpster, is that
Twitch.tv/Puppet Jared.
Thank you so much, Holden. Is that we live in such an age of AI, CG, cheap puppet animation. Even at its absolute worst, it was so laborious to bring this crap to life that it's almost fascinating. It's like watching a guy try and build the Eiffel Tower out of shit.
It's why bad video games are fascinating, because like bad, really like high level video games are fascinating. Because you're like, dude, 100 people plus worked on this thing.
And I want to say, like, I think it's a positive of us that we haven't named so many names on this episode.
Yeah.
Because I do feel the plight of the work for hire, that these are guys, mostly guys. Some of these shows could have used a feminine touch.
Yeah.
That like, we're just like, I just fucking need to work, man. And this sucks. And
like,
it
goes, and Adam and I talk about, our lovely producer Adam, talk about it with movies. Like bad movies, it's so hard to just make a movie.
Yeah.
Making a movie is so goddamn hard. So like to make a good movie it should be almost impossible if you really get into the process. It is so challenging to get all of those things to come together and to create something unique and interesting, Cyborgs, man, was such an odd one to end on because, it's kind of like pre-reboot computer graphics. I'm surprised you actually put a commercial for the action figures when the I also forgot, by the way, really quick, with Street Sharks, the Street Sharks commercial where they have the actual humans morphing into Street Sharks is horrifying.
I
don't know if you watched that, but yeah, they have actual people being more like Animorph style morphing into sharks, and it is like terrifying, like genuinely.
You know what? Here's the thing. I know there's like two people that really want us to do a Street Sharks episode, and this is as close as we're fucking getting.
Sure.
Play the commercial, 1995.
Yeah, let's do the commercial.
This is
horrifying.
This is your day. You get your Street Sharks episode.
I hope this one has the shot.
It does. It does.
Oh, yeah.
It is a nightmare. It is terrifying.
It's really bad.
Oh yeah, they do it in like every commercial too. Like they always do it.
I mean, you spend the money on some man morphing.
God, that's awful stuff. But anyways, that looks pretty cool though. I think their vehicles were pretty badass, honestly.
But they didn't need vehicles because their whole thing is that they travel through the fucking. I love that to stop like a burglar, they destroy an entire city block.
Yeah.
Cyborgs is the last gasp.
It's a nightmare. It is computer generated. It is
a small toy line tried to just
so
like be like, you know
uncanny.
what? The world needs more turtles. We can make this happen. What's it?
I did
Hong
just
Kong.
yawn. I did just yawn, and I want that to be kept in.
But they did do a CGI pilot, and you can find it on the Internet Archive.
Oh.
They used early motion capture, so like the characters are like T-posing and glitching out half the time.
It is
This
terrifying.
is the worst pilot from the 90s, and I'm including John F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah. I wrote down, this is a waking nightmare.
They used so many human characters before they had any right to, like, even Pixar knew not to like include human characters at this point.
Just
This was, and that it was at the end, and I was so fried.
Yeah.
And that this was brutal, man. And
Really?
also, it did feel like because we didn't include Reboot. It did feel like, you know, we didn't include Beast Wars. It felt like it was getting closer to that. I see why it fits this, but also it was just like, I'm just looking at 4 way uglier versions of Bebop.
Yeah. I guess let's do the action figure commercial. I don't even remember it. Why
They
is
use
it
a lot of
2
CG
minutes
footage.
long?
Oh, because there's
is this a VHS?
Yeah. Just
Bizarre, man.
we can still do it. It's still good. It's still good.
Yeah.
The show.
Oh, the pig has already flown.
Oh my god. I don't know how long. Oh yeah. Scroll ahead. This is
Yeah, if
they
we just
stick on
get
this.
a
It
little
says
taste.
3, so let's just watch the first one.
Yeah. Let's just watch the initial.
I like that they use the word proven.
Do they show clips from the show? I mean,
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! It looks like some Birdemic shit. Like it looks.
People
great.
mentioned Bird. I watched it last night. People kept saying Birdemic.
Yeah, it has that uncanny like weirdness to the look of it.
Bush Hog. That was my nickname in
God,
college.
look at that. That's the show. That's the show. It looks crazy, dude. It looks crazy.
It's just a pilot. Maybe you could get a VHS at the time. I don't want to say I recommend it, but it is a visceral experience
It is
when
visceral.
rapid fire drinks out of the toilet.
Yeah.
That's the thing is,
yeah.
it's like it's insane, but also 2 minutes in, you are cyborg.
Yeah, it's wild. Anyways, I think thank you, Jake. Thank you for taking us down this journey. I was very excited for this episode.
I love that one of them is just airborne.
It was
That's just the thing that he does and what he is.
No, it's like airborne.
It was like kind of like, you know, in those horror movies where the married couple's having problems and then they go through such trauma that they end up like reuniting and just being so happy they got through it. That's kind of how I felt with Lexi when I was done with this research. I was like, baby, everything's gonna be okay. You know, cyborgs can't hurt us anymore. You know, or cyborgs rather. I'm cyborg.
I think this was really fun, and I appreciate you, Jake. And if you want more of this, you can get it every Thursday.
Every Thursday, twitch.tv/Puppet Jared. It's the cartoon dumpster. Ticka. 4 p.m. PST and 7 p.m. EST if you're nasty.
Thank you so much. And thank you to the Cartoon Dumpster community for helping out with some hot takes and helping me form a lot of what this episode was about.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, man, time keeps on ticking.
Yeah.
Things change. The more they are almost alien when you look back.
Almost Snalian.
Thanks so much again, guys. Patreon.com/nerd of mouth. That is patreon.com/nerd of mouth. Check us out on there. We've got some new fun content coming your way on there. For now, $5 a month gets you weekly bonus episodes, and we do watch alongs at the higher layer on there. Check us out on there. Also, oh my God, burying the lead. We're on YouTube now. If you're not watching us right now, go to YouTube, youtube.com/ at Nerd of Mouth Podcast, just at Nerd of Mouth Podcast on YouTube. That's the better way to say it.
If you're wondering why we're talking about how things look,
Yeah,
it's because
that's
we're
why.
looking at them and you can see us looking at them.
There it is. Go over there, please. Even if you're not trying to be a regular viewer and only watch sometimes, please just smash that subscribe button. It really, really helps us
Leave a
so much to
comment,
grow
leave a
the
like,
show.
and also the algorithm is so finicky. Leave the tab open even when you're done watching, because we have to have minutes retained, and everything is so
Yes,
goddamn
exactly.
complicated.
Everything's got to just hit play on it and go make that burger or argue with your
Don't
loved one.
bounce off. Whatever you do, don't be like, oh, wow, it's a video episode, and then bounce. It's horrible for the recommendation engine.
Exactly. Thanks so much, guys. Mike, Jake, any more promos?
You can go to Skid Row. It's in downtown LA, and there will be a guy there, and you tell him, hey, man, Snailians was a good idea. The world just wasn't ready for it.
Now, can you show me how to cook? That was a drug thing. Twitch.tv/HoldenatorsHo. Forgot that one. That's it. Let's get out of here. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.